Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. I join you to speak in favor of SB 169 to re-examine and reform the state's 830G housing law. Our state can and should protect local control over planning and zoning and meet affordable housing goals in an effective manner. Yet 830G is counterproductive and demoralizing to many communities. After 32 years, the state statute has failed to achieve its own stated goals toward affordable housing and now causes more problems than it solves. Today, only 31 of 169 towns and cities have met their stated goals, and the sweeping law has also failed to generate upward mobility. Since the law took effect in 1990, the poverty rate in Connecticut has increased more than any state in the country, according to the US Census. Our policies aren't working to alleviate economic need. On top of that, 830G is demoralizing diverse communities across Connecticut by voiding their local planning and zoning rules. Connecticut is a proud state with great traditions of local control and local democracy. We know that the government that governs closest to the people governs best. Yet 830G totally voids local control for 138 towns and cities in favor of state rules that give special benefit to large developers that create little affordable housing. Instead, we need to encourage and reward diverse forms of affordable housing and local buy-in. 830G primarily recognizes government and deed-restricted housing while rewarding dense 830G complexes built by big developers. Instead, we should consider counting affordable housing based on the most accurate metric: how much it costs. Regardless of the year built, the deeds, accessory dwelling unit, or workforce housing or other naturally occurring affordable housing. Under the current rules, a more expensive unit counts as affordable if it meets certain state requirements than other private units, even if they're less expensive. That's not a sensible strategy. At the same time, these rules encourage dense developments that only include 30% affordable and only reward large developers at the expense of families and smaller property owners. In my district, a family that recently bought a home in a single-family neighborhood is seeing their property value fall by over a quarter. Meanwhile, the town feels helpless with 100-unit complexes that are mostly not affordable popping up and altering the landscape. Diversity means that we can protect Connecticut's bucolic towns and build affordable housing in scale and style of those towns too. I cannot remember seeing an issue that united so many Democrats and Republicans in Southern Connecticut. Everyone wants to reach our affordable housing goals, and we need to do it by empowering local communities with more control over the issues which affect them and their towns directly. Please advance this bill.
Any questions for Senator Fazio? Representative Paletta.
Yes, very briefly, thank you, Chairman Lopes. Senator Fazio, thank you for joining us. I know you've been passionate about this issue, as well as a number of colleagues of mine on both sides of the aisle. What are some of the towns in Lower Fairfield County doing to advance affordable housing? Because we know there's a need for it. So, what steps are you guys taking to advance affordable housing? Thank you.
Well, that's a great question, Representative Paletta. I can mostly speak to my district. In Greenwich, which is a very big town, I think it's 28% Alice in Greenwich. We have 4 Title I schools, including the middle school I went to. Right next to the middle school I went to, there's a large town affordable housing complex, and we recently renovated it. Governor Lamont came to the ribbon cutting and was complimentary of the great job that Greenwich in particular does on the affordable housing front. New Canaan has built a new affordable housing complex. It's 100 units. The town loves it. It supports it. It wants to expand it. And it was one of the 4 towns in the entire state that got a moratorium on affordable housing because of the good job it does. These towns, I can testify to the fact that they want to advance their affordable housing goals. They just want to do it with local buy-in, housing trusts, housing authorities, etc. Some locals say so. They're pushing forward, and they'll continue to push forward. They just want reforms to 830G in order to empower them, give them more input rather than totally push them to the sidelines.
Thank
you. Said any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Senator Fazio.
Thank you, sir.